Hello, it's pauljoda here, and I'm the creator of the Modular Furnace mod. I wanted to show you a little bit of an update on what I've been working on. So if you'll see behind me, these are the blocks you could build the Modular Furnace out of before. It's not as much variety as something like, oh, I don't know, that. So this wall represents all the blocks in vanilla that you can build the furnace out of. It works on a way of it accepts all blocks and then knocks out ones that don't work. So, for example, if it's wood, it's knocked out of the list. If it's, sand or gravel, something that's not a normal block, it's knocked out. Glass, you can't use. It's just sort of a sensible, would this work if it was a furnace? And one that I decided to take out was TNT. That was another one that actually rendered normally, but I decided should probably not be a furnace building material. So if you look here, it supports the metadata blocks, including the colored hardened clay. It doesn't support wool though, because that's obviously flammable. So let's open up the furnace and you'll see it formed. And I'll show you a little bit more you can do. This overlay is no longer the only thing you can use. I have a custom overlay system, and I'll show you guys a little bit of that here in a moment. But right now I'm just going to show you a little bit of the changes I've done to the actual furnace itself. So you'll see I break it. I still have all these blocks here. They're not lost. What's actually happening behind the scenes is this block is getting converted into a tile entity that pretty much copies its texture and then puts it on top of itself. So this is no longer, you'll see it's a cobblestone dummy. It's no longer a, hardened clay block or an emerald ore, but when you break this, it is. And don't worry, if you decide to break that, it'll drop it and give it right back to you. So you can still keep all of your blocks. So that was a pretty big deal. That took a little bit of work to get around to, and I thought you guys would like to see that. Adds a little more options for decoration. So let's say I wanted to make a neat little pattern on the top here. I am not very artistic, but you can see there's a little bit of a pattern there now. So that's one of the changes. I reworked some of the math behind displaying the efficiency and speed, and you do get a slight little boost when you just use the normal. Like this, if it's a decorative block, so anything besides these that I'm covering up, well, that too, then they all do the exact same thing. However, that adds a little experience, efficiency, and speed. So those are the ones that add the other things. I'm going to, in the future, make like this add a little bit of efficiency with iron and, just blocks that you would think to make sense would make sense. So that's coming in the future, but right now I'm just forming the thing down. And this build is very experimental because converting the blocks into these tile entities is very much the core of the mod. And I want to make sure everything works before I release it because, this thing is built out of these tile entities, and I pretty much rewrote the tile entities entirely. And I rewrote the code for the core itself. So there's a lot that I have to make sure works before I'm ready to give it the official release. However, I'd like you guys to play around with it and let me know what you think. So this isn't limited to just vanilla blocks. So, say you wanted to build it out of a mod block. It should work as long as it fits the criteria of not being a tile entity and rendering normally. So if the mod uses a special block renderer or it has an alpha layer texture such as glass, it's not going to work. So let's just scroll through this list a little bit. Can I use a block of solid ender? I can. Okay, so that's just, it's kind of fun, if you want to build it out of these various things, you can now. So if you've got, aluminum brass and you want to build it out of aluminum brass, there you go. You can do so. Let's just see if there's any other interesting things. I don't really think there's much else I need to explain besides the point that works. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about the new custom overlay system. So This is actually suggested by someone on the forums, and I thought it was a pretty good idea. He wanted to say, this is all cool and all, but I want to make my own custom overlay. And you'll notice some of you might like Sphax. I happen to like it. These are my favorite texture packs right here. So I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to see if this thing adapts. I already know the answer. Yes, it will adapt to the texture pack. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys what exactly that entails. So as always, switching to an HD texture pack takes just a moment as it has to rewrite all of the files. So we'll just wait for a moment here while it's loading up the new texture pack. See if I can poke it along. Nope. It's thinking about it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit more about the overlay while this is thinking about it. Inside of the assets folder of my mod, you will find a file called custom overlay. Oh, and I ran out of memory. Fantastic. Okay. Let's switch it to one that I know will work. Let's use the OCD texture pack. Yeah, I have a lot of mods, and mods like Tinker's Construct add a whole lot of files that take up a lot of memory. So you'll see, it's adapting to the texture pack. Now, inside of the assets folder, as I was saying, you'll find a custom overlay file. Now, if you take that file, you can make whatever you want and place it there. So, for instance, if you wanted to replace it with Sphax's glass texture, and you would have a glass overlay for all of this, you could do so. As long as it's a, 16 by 16 or any incremented up texture file size, it will render as the overlay. Now to do that, you just enter it in at the overlay, and then you go to the config file, and there's the use vanilla, and you can do true or false for use vanilla overlay. If you do true, it's going to use this hopper texture. If you do false, it's going to use your custom overlay. Another cool thing, if you decide you want to use vanilla overlays, however, you don't want it to be the hopper ring, say you wanted to make it the portal, then you could do so. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you guys right now. So I will be right back. And now we're back, and you'll see I used the portal texture for the overlay. And it's kind of neat, it's definitely interesting, but it shows you, you can make the overlay anything you want it to be. So animated textures are of course supported. It's just part of the normal Minecraft. And this opens a lot of possibilities for customization of your modular furnace. So say you don't want any overlay at all, then you just create a blank file that's 16 by 16 pixels and rename it to custom overlay and drop it in the assets folder. It's not too tough, I just went over and I went to my config folder and I opened up the modular furnace one, and I knew that in vanilla Minecraft the texture for portal is just called portal. So I renamed hopper top to portal, and here is the result. If it can't find the texture, it's probably going to do that ugly, what is it? That texture, the pink and black. But if you don't like having dynamic textures at all, you could just put like a stone brick texture file there, and it just throw it on top of it, and everything would look like stone brick. Unfortunately, though, this guy here would also look like a stone brick. I think that's kind of cool, just having it itself swirly. But then it's got the whole thing going. So there's a little more customization, and the textures are a little bit more dynamic. That took a little bit of work, and I'm glad it makes the mod a little more modular. If that's too much of a pun, I'm sorry. But other than that, thanks for watching the video, guys. If you like the mod, give it a download, and if you have any ideas, head over to the forums and post your ideas there. I get an email every time anybody posts on it, and I like to respond almost immediately, so I can get more of a conversation to get these ideas. In fact, the custom overlay was an idea from the forum, and these mini block decorative ideas also from the forum. So a lot of my ideas do come from, you guys, and there's only so much I can think of. When I thought of the mod, it was just going to be cobblestone, redstone, and iron, and then I added these guys, and this doesn't do anything anymore. If you're wondering, you don't get the double output as you did. That was a little bit too overpowered, and it was just kind of a fun thing for me to do. So anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the update. You can download it from my website. It's going to be under the experimental logo. It's not ready for full release, so you can still get the older version if you'd like. But I want you guys to test this out. Let me know if you're running any problems. Post your crash reports. If there are some, I hope there are not any. But post them on the forums, and I'll get them taken care of. Alright, you guys. Thanks for watching.